Whenever we are conducting any type of assessment, either before the teaching learning process, during the teaching learning process, or after the teaching learning process, we have to ensure that the assessment tools and techniques follow some basic rules. And these basic rules are the test for validity. That is, the assessment should actually measure what we are trying to measure. That is, you cannot use a stethoscope to check for temperature, and you cannot use a thermometer to check for heartbeat. You have to use the right kind of tool or the right kind of technique for ensuring that you are actually measuring what you are trying to measure or assess. So the tool or the technique that you use should be valid. Next, it should be reliable. Suppose if you are using a thermometer and once if you use it, it says 104 degrees, second time it says 102, third time it says 104, or fourth time it says 90. So which means that there is something wrong in that thermometer, right? It's not reliable anymore. Therefore, whatever tool or technique that you use for assessment of learning should be reliable enough to give same results or similar results as long as the basic conditions are same. It should not fluctuate. It should be reliable. Next, we should check for objectivity. That is, if we use a thermometer, a good and reliable thermometer, then if you use it on a patient and it says 104, then if I use it on the same patient, if it says 104, we know that it is reliable and it is objective. It is measuring the temperature. But if I use my hand to measure the temperature of that person, I might think that that person is like normal, he doesn't have any fever. You use your hand and you might feel that the same person has very high fever. So here our personal opinions or personal circumstances are affecting the result of this assessment. So similarly, when you are doing an assessment of learning, it should be objective. That is, the personal feelings, emotions and judgment of the person who is doing the assessment should not influence the results. And next, are the results relevant? That is, if you are using the results for a specific purpose, are the results relevant and useful for that purpose? For example, if I want to test the mathematical ability of a child and I give him a general knowledge test and I see that this person's general knowledge ability is very good, therefore his mathematical ability is probably good. So that is irrelevant, because if I want to test the mathematical ability of a child, then I have to give relevant questions or appropriate questions which are assessing the mathematical ability, and it should not be a general knowledge quiz, right? So that way the results should be relevant and the kind of test that I'm giving should also be relevant. And are these adequate? That is, like we spoke about prognostic assessment and diagnostic assessment earlier, right? So prognostic assessments give us only limited bit of information. Then we do diagnostic or in-depth assessment to see what are the reasons behind the learner being good or bad. So the results that we are getting from any sort of assessment should be adequate and should have enough information to meet the purpose of the assessment. So these are the basic rules for any assessment.